ability to identify things that you want in your life, such as the manipulations used by people who have mental issues that would seek to make you a part of their that regimen. I don't want to say their game, you know what I mean? But I've heard a lot of psychiatrists and people say that it is literally a game for some of these people, and that there's just no guilt involved.
Correct.
The point being that you're able to recognize some of these things more when you focus on self first, understanding where you are in the world.
Absolutely, those are red flags, and unfortunately, there's a few ways to learn wisdom. Confucius put it best as far as experience is most bitter. Self-reflection is actually the most wise way to learn wisdom, and that's the problem, is that we're not taking that time to self-reflect. There's this big push for meditation now. Everyone meditates. Everyone meditates. Let me tell you, I try very, very hard to meditate. My brain just does not shut off. So I have to go at meditation a different way. And in fact, I'm going to be looking into like Tai Chi or something, because I need to move so that my brain can stop thinking. My body's got to move. But that's something I've had to learn about myself. And so each one of us, we have to, really dive in to see, okay, what makes me tick? What are my triggers? What are things that make me feel a certain way? Also, why do they make me feel a certain way? A lot of it started as a child.
Right.
Whether you're the one who is the one to make everything great. It's like you want to turn around and you want to, there's always a hectic environment, and you're the pleaser that goes out to say, okay, but everyone's going to walk away and know it was a good time. Okay. Then you have the other ones that are just in the madness and they just isolate themselves and walk away. So you have the extremes of let's make everyone happy and let's make them, everyone else feel good.
Right.
And then the other ones of I don't care how anyone else feels, I'm just going to take this away. So either way, we're on extremes here.
Yeah, they call those attachment styles though. And while you're talking about it, it's like they've literally taken the time to block out all your different types of, well, not all, but through years of study and categorization, and observation. You have avoidant anxious, you have avoidant distracted, or disorganized, you have all these different classifications through their manual that say that what you're saying is absolutely right. And those attachment styles growing up are something that you carry with you, because that home environment was, where your learning curve was highest, first off, in the years that you were supposed to be learning things.
And that spongy time of life.
Yeah, and you soaked all these into the core of your person. So if you had a emotionally unavailable person in your life growing up, then you become accustomed to emotionally unavailable people, and you tend to surround yourself without realizing the injury that it may or may not be causing you. And so I totally think you're right. And so once more and again, it's with that point in time where you realize that so much of the things that you had gone through actually kind of loop into another thing. So now you're that person, and you have this, let's use codependency for instance, because that can become deadly too. I mean, when you're too attached and you're too dependent on someone for their inputs on your life to validate you see, that can become a dangerous scenario as well. And so once that happens and you realize that you bring these people into your life and you've lived this life, let's say 5 years, and the abuse, because that's what they are when we're talking about domestic violence, right?
Yes.
In different categories of that abuse. We can say physical abuse, we can say mental abuse, we can say financial abuse, we can say sexual abuse, we can say coercive and controlling behaviors, which falls under the psychological aspect. You're with this man now. You've lost your identity for yourself, and you become accustomed to, because it is a brainwashing thing, you become more comfortable being the ideal of what someone sees you as, or that label, if you will, as opposed to who you are, because you've lost sight of that, or you've never really known. And so what then? That's kind of my thing. I know it was kind of a long drawn out setup, but
let's rewind that just a little bit, because most battered spouses don't even feel they're battered. They feel that I'm strong, I can handle this, and I'm the only person who can help him or her save them from themselves.
Or they make excuses for that other person.
But so there's an illness that goes on both sides.
Yes.
And so that's where it comes to, once that an individual, strong, never ever encountered domestic violence in their life, gets involved with someone, the first stage is to seduce and make them feel like they're on top of the world, where that other party is the dominant one in the relationship. That's the first step. Is that that person is the dominant. So you feel empowered. That person feels, I've got this. And then the next step is the isolation, and abuse follows right after that. And it starts with the mental abuse, psychological abuse, and then it's physical. And the stages, they can go very fast, and they can go over years. You can be married to someone for 5 years and be the dominant person. And then, wow, all of a sudden, things changed. Let's go and let's move and let's have this great place elsewhere, and it's away from everyone. But let's not focus on that. This is for our future. And then there's your isolation. And there's where everything else starts to take place. So it starts off as beautiful.
Right.
That whole honeymoon, that putting someone on a pedestal and worshiping them for a moment. So be wary of that for everyone. Number one warning sign: don't be put on a pedestal.
And I think to myself, what a wonderful world.